Welcome to CCBC TV's Arts Showcase, a series featuring performances from the campuses of the Community College of Baltimore County. I'm Monica Otal, Professor of Music and Concert Manager at CCBC. Today's Arts Showcase presents the professional musicians of the CCBC Music Faculty in Recital. Selections range from classical to Caribbean to jazz. Performers include Andrew Broadwater on the steel pan, as well as guitarists Andrew Dickinson, Andrew Dibble, Daniel Lewis, Rob Winter, and Brian Camato, pianists Joe Teeter, Patty Crossman, and Andrew Lewis, violinist Rachel Stockton, trumpeter Ross Wixon, and drummer Bill Watson.
All right, so I play many instruments, and I thought it would be really cool to perform on the steel pan for you today. Kind of a little more unusual. Some of you might not be familiar with the instrument. So I can give you a little information about it. It's a pretty recently invented instrument, actually. It's the only acoustic instrument invented in the 20th century. It comes from the Southern Caribbean, the island of Trinidad. And it kind of evolved over the decades, and now it's a fully chromatic instrument. It can play basically anything any other instrument can. This particular model instrument is called the lead or the tenor pan, and it plays usually the melody when you perform in an ensemble. Today I'm going to be performing a piece, actually the winning Panorama tune from the 1987 Panorama by Len Bugsy Sharp. I had the opportunity last year to perform in the Panorama competition in Trinidad, and it was a great experience. So this is an arranged version of that winning Panorama tune from 1987. It is called Dis Feelin' Nice, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. The instrument over the decades has caught on with popular culture, and that is well represented in the film The Little Mermaid, where Alan Menken was incorporated the instrument into the movie's soundtrack. And this is a very popular requested tune, so I thought you would appreciate hearing Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. And here it goes.
is a American folk performer and composer from Pennsylvania who is a guitarist, a fiddler, a mandolinist, and a square dance caller. And the tune we're going to play today is from a book of his music of about 50 Appalachian waltzes. And they're very charming. If there wasn't so many chords, I would invite people down to waltz. You can sway in your seat.
Good afternoon and welcome. But you've probably already been welcomed, right? Losing my music already. The piece I'm going to play for you today, as you can see from your program, is by the Spanish composer Enrique Granados. He wrote a set of 6 piano pieces which he called Goyescas. That was the title of the suite, the group of 6 piano pieces which he wrote. The pieces became so popular after their publication that Granados himself put together and composed an opera with the same title, Goyescas, based on many of the tunes and melodies from these 6 very popular piano pieces. The piece I'm playing for you today, The Maiden and the Nightingale, has a double title. I forgot the first part, Laments or The Maiden and the Nightingale. So as you may guess from the title, it's a very reflective, contemplative piece. During the course of the piece, you will occasionally hear trills which are reminiscent of the singing of the nightingale. And in fact, Granados devotes the whole last page of music to a series of trills and quick flourishes evocative of the singing of the nightingale. This piece has special personal significance for me because long ago, when I was your age and a student, one of my former piano teachers was from Spain, and he taught me this piece. In order to get us in the mood and perhaps give us a little bit of insight into Granados' thoughts and ideas as he composed this piece, I'm going to read to you the first 4 lines of the soprano aria from the opera Goyescas. And this is the soprano aria upon which this was built upon melodies from the piece I'm going to play for you. And this is just the first 4 lines of the text. Why does the nightingale in the gloom pour out her soul in amorous song? Has she a grievance against the monarch of day? Is it thus that she avenges her wrong?
It's hello. It's very much a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure to play for you as students, and it's a pleasure to share the stage with so many wonderful musicians that you're seeing here today. I'm playing an original piece today, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of background info. My wife is Korean, and we've been over to Korea several times. And one of the ancient nicknames of Korea is the land of morning calm. This is a piece that I wrote while I was over there, and there's a lot that I love about Korea. It's beautiful culture, beautiful landscapes, a lot I love. The people that I've met have become very good friends. And but more importantly, when I go over there, it's kind of a time to just escape from all the stress of daily life, and a lot of time for reflection, artistic reflection, personal reflection, and just a time to rejuvenate. So this piece of music doesn't include any Korean melodies or Korean sounds or anything like that, but I just wanted to write it as an homage to the way that I feel when I'm over there. So I hope you enjoy it.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Ross Wixon, and I teach a number of classes here and play trumpet in my spare time. And I'd like to just talk a second about this piece by Persichetti, Parable for solo trumpet, his 24th. It says 14th in your program, but it's actually his 24th parable. Many of you may know Persichetti from playing in high school band. Often we think of pieces like Pageant or Symphony No. 6 for band, and these pieces really feature beautiful melodies, really lyrical lines, things that, while sounding modern in 20th century, managed to also remind us of the romantic music that many of us grew up listening to. And that was the side that Persichetti described as graceful. Yet there was another side to his composition that he called the gritty. And this piece, Parable 24, certainly comes from that gritty side. Gone are the melodies, the beautiful lyrical lines that might be comfortable or familiar, and he replaces them for interest with angular motion, hard attacks, muted trumpet, as you'll hear. These mutes will change the sound of my horn, and really aggressive, edgy changes in changes in music. So while this may sound challenging to listen to, I really encourage you all to enjoy the bite, enjoy the dissonance. And without further ado, Persichetti's Parable for solo trumpet.
much. So we are going to play two pieces for you today. The first is by the French composer, excuse the noise. The first is for the French composer Napoleon Coste, who was writing during the mid to late 19th century, and his music is not only very romantic, but very French. There's a lot of, well, take that however you like. There's a lot of very just lush harmonies, and he writes quite well for the guitar, which is a difficult pair to write for. Sort of on the tail of that, the second set of pieces, which are 4 Armenian folk songs by the composer Alan Hovhannes. This is an arrangement that was done by a teacher of mine, Terry Champlin, who is masterful at arranging for this grouping. So these pieces were originally written for solo piano, but in their 2-guitar form, I think the heart of the instrument and the heart of the music is quite evident. So here's a little music by Napoleon Coste and Alan Hovhannes.
Thank you. Chopin wrote so much wonderful music for the piano. He didn't really write very much at all for anything else besides the piano. I think when we think of piano music, he is probably the first composer that we think of, and for good reason. He wrote 24 preludes, one in each major and minor key. Most likely he was inspired by Johann Sebastian Bach and Bach's seminal work, the Well-Tempered Clavier, which is not one but two sets of preludes and fugues, one in each major and minor key. So that would actually be two in each major and minor key. But anyway, we're not going to hear Bach today. This prelude is a short one, although it's not the shortest one. It's only 26 measures long. The preludes as a group vary quite a bit in length, in mood. This particular one is, in addition to being brief, it is melancholy, and the melody is in the left hand most of the time. It reminds me very much of the sound of the cello, which is one of my favorite instruments. I hope you enjoy it.
Good afternoon. We're going to finish out with a piece called Take 5, mostly associated with the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Although Dave himself didn't write it, it was his sax player Paul Desmond. Probably one of the most famous jazz tunes ever written, certainly one of the most played. mostly famous for being in 5/4 time, which hadn't really been used up to that point. And probably still the most famous piece in 5/4 time, which is why it's called Take 5. One note that people don't usually know is that when Paul Desmond died a few years ago, in his will, he gave the rights to this music to the American Red Cross. And since his death to today, I believe it's raised $6 million just from the royalties of this tune. So I have to make a short adjustment with my microphone and we'll start.